he took interest in what goes on in that part of the world. Today, Justice Alta can manage to speak.
So guys, Nnamdi Kanu is victorious once again. If you watched my last video, I told you that there was a part 2 to Nnamdi Kanu's victories transcripts, because in Kenya, Nnamdi Kanu's brother sued the Kenyan government to court, and in suing them to courts, it brought about a victory to Nnamdi Kanu, in which Nnamdi Kanu was awarded 120 million naira in damages. Without wasting much of your time, in case you are interested in the Nnamdi Kanu's full transcripts and the court documents, which was released today, I'll be displaying it here for you. Just in case you are interested, we are going to be reading everything that has to do with Nnamdi Kanu's victory in today's video. And if you want to know how everything happened from the beginning to the very end, from when Nnamdi Kanu's brother sued the Kenyan government to when he was declared winner, and the conclusions the justice gave in Kenya, you are at the right spot, because in this particular video, I will download you with everything you need to know in this particular session. Well, without wasting much of your time, let's get straight to it. Republic of Kenya. In the High Courts of Kenya at Nairobi City, court name Milimani Law Courts. Case number is written here. Citation: Kingsley Kanu, which is Nnamdi Kanu's blood brother, versus Office of Attorney General and Cabinet Secretary Interior and Coordination of National Governments, and one others. Without wasting much of time, let's get straight to the transcripts. It stated, the petitioner asserted that Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's arrests, detention and removal from Kenya was done in violation of the Constitution of Kenya, the Fair Administrative Actions Act 2015, the Extradition, Contagious and Foreign Countries Act, and the Public Officers Ethics Act 2003. Prince Emmanuel Kanu, who is Nnamdi Kanu's brother, swore an affidavit stating that he had been authorized by Mr. Nnamdi Kanu to swear the affidavits because Mr. Nnamdi Kanu could not swear one since he was in detention and was prohibited from swearing an affidavit. Prince Kanu, who is Nnamdi Kanu's brother, stated he had met Mr. Nnamdi Kanu on 27th July 2021 at about 3 p.m. at the headquarters of the State Security Services in Abuja, Nigeria, and he believed the facts given to him by Mr. Nnamdi Kanu to be true. Prince Kanu deposed that on 12 May 2021, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu entered Kenya legally as a British citizen and settled at a temporary location in Nairobi on 19th June 2021. Mr. Nnamdi Kanu drove to JKIA on a personal errand. As soon as he parked the vehicle and alighted, several agents of the Nigerian government accosted and abducted him, handcuffed him, bundled him into a vehicle, and sped away. The abductors took Mr. Nnamdi Kanu to a house within Nairobi and chained him. They did not show him an arrest warrant issued by a court in Kenya or an extradition order. He was also not informed that there was a warrant or extradition order. Prince Kanu stated that the abductors beat Mr. Nnamdi Kanu in turns and tortured him while in chains until he fainted. Mr. Nnamdi Kanu was kept in detention for 8 days, was not allowed to bath, and was fed on stale bread once a day and given non-sanitary water to drink. His plea to be given medications for hypertension, and heart condition were ignored. The abductors did not produce him before a court of law in Kenyan or other law enforcement facility. He was also not allowed to contact an advocate or make a phone call to anyone. Prince Kanu stated that on 27th June 2021, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu was taken out of the house, put in a car and driven to JKIA, where the abductors forcibly bundled him into a private jet that departed JKIA at about 12 noon and arrived in Abuja, Nigeria in the evening of the same day and was detained at the Nigerian National Intelligence Agency headquarters on the 29th June 2021. Nigeria's Attorney General addressed a press conference stating that Mr. Nnamdi Kanu had been rearrested through the collaborative efforts of Nigerian intelligence and other security services to continue with the trial he was facing before disappearing while on bail. Prince Kanu further deposed that on 22nd July 2022, the Working Group of the United Nations Human Rights Council issued a statement condemning the abduction, detention, disappearance, torture, and expulsion and called for Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's unconditional release and payment of reparations. The statements termed his transfer from Kenya an act of extraordinary rendition and required both Kenya and Nigeria to fulfill obligations to recompense him. Prince Kanu again stated that on 13th October 2022, the Court of Appeal of Nigeria termed the subject's expulsion from Kenya to Nigeria as an act of extraordinary rendition and discharged him of all criminal charges. The Court of Appeal also barred any Nigerian courts from trying Mr. Nnamdi Kanu on any crime. It was again stated that on 26 October 2022, the Federal High Courts of Nigeria also held that the abduction, detention, disappearance, torture, and expulsion from Kenya to Nigeria was an act of brazen violation of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's fundamental rights and awarded him compensation. The continued detention in Nigeria was also declared unconstitutional. Mr. Prince Kanu accepted that Mr. Nnamdi Kanu believes that the government of Kenya had a duty to protect him as a British citizen, having been allowed to enter the country and been lawfully in the country. In response, this was the verdict of the justice in Kenya, and I read, in the case of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, the averments in the petition and depositions in the affidavits show that he was abducted without warrants, detained, tortured, and later taken out of the country without any court order to that effect. The respondents admitted that there was no record in any police station that Mr. Nnamdi had been lawfully arrested. They also admitted that there was no deportation order issued by a court in Kenya. They did not argue that there was a warrant or order issued by any other courts outside Kenya or even a request from any country to surrender or extradite Mr. Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya. That being the case, no one had constitutional or legal mandates and power to arrest Mr. Nnamdi Kanu within the territory of Kenya, except those authorized by laws of Kenya, namely officers from the National Police Service. Even then, they had to do so in compliance with the constitutional standards of human rights and fundamental freedoms as required by Article 244C of the Constitution. The government of Kenya, through the respondents, did not show that there was a reason for Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's arrest in Kenya, and if there was such reason, he was to be accorded due process and was not to be treated in a manner that violated his rights and fundamental freedoms, since Article 20 of 2 of our Constitution recognizes rights of every person so long as the person is within the territory of Kenya and abides by the laws of Kenya, regardless of his citizenship. This position was reiterated in Moses Tengenya Owemono v. Attorney General that one is entitled to due process irrespective of his citizenship. After listening to both parties, the justice came to these conclusions. 1. Having considered the pleadings and arguments by parties, the decisions relied on the Constitution and the law. I come to the following conclusions. First, the government of Kenya violated the Constitution and Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's rights and fundamental freedoms. Having entered Kenya lawfully, he was subject to the protection offered by the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and the government of Kenya had an obligation to uphold and protect his rights and fundamental freedoms. Mr. Nnamdi was, however, abducted, kept in solitude, confinement, tortured, and denied food and medication, a breach of basic rights. He was chained, humiliated, ridiculed, and held in contempt, and later forcibly removed from Kenya without following the law, in violation of his rights and fundamental freedoms, for which the government of Kenya is liable. Finally, based on the above conclusions, the court makes the following declarations and orders it considers appropriate. 1. A declaration is hereby issued that the abduction of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, holding him in incommunicado confinement, torturing him and denying him food, water, medication, and other basic necessities was a violation of his rights and fundamental freedom. 2. A declaration is hereby issued that the abduction and subsequent forcible removal of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria was in violation of the laws of Kenya. His rights and fundamental freedoms, including freedom of movement and security of the person guaranteed by the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and therefore unconstitutional and illegal. 3. An order for compensation is hereby issued awarding Mr. Nnamdi Kanu general damages of 10 million Kenyan shillings against the Attorney General of Kenya on behalf of the government of Kenya for the violation of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu constitutional rights and fundamental freedoms. Then finally, the Attorney General shall also pay costs of the petition and interests. This was the verdict of the Kenyan courts, and you can now see that Nnamdi Kanu is gradually being vindicated. With these particular judgments, Justice Omotosho has nothing to try Nnamdi Kanu for again in Nigeria, because this particular judgment by the Kenyan courts has just vindicated Nnamdi Kanu, because what is clearly stated in this particular judgment from the Kenyan courts is that Nnamdi Kanu cannot be tried in a Nigerian court because his rendition to Nigeria was illegal. Well, Nnamdi Kanu has been fighting a just cause, and we can clearly see that finally he's been vindicated, and we can clearly see that Nnamdi Kanu is innocent. And in case you don't know, this is the 4th year of Nnamdi Kanu in detention, and despite the trials Nnamdi Kanu has been attending, led by his counsel, the FG have been frustrating his release. Well, we all pray that Nnamdi Kanu gets released from the Nigerian prisons, because we can clearly see that from a document released by the Kenyan courts, Nnamdi Kanu is innocent and free, and the extradition process was illegal, thereby paving way to the court stating that Nnamdi Kanu cannot be tried in the Nigerian courts under the Nigerian constitution. At this point, I'd like you guys to tell me what you feel about this in the comment section below. Do not to like this video, share this video, and hit the subscribe button below for more trending updates.